Today is Friday, March 20th, and I'm here to talk about new releases, heavy metal releases, mostly extreme metal overall. What we'll get to today is 3 of the best releases of a pretty packed release day overall, and 9 news stories, new singles, things to check out in the meantime. So we can start out with Helltrapanner's debut album, The Consecration of Eternal Impurity. This is a death metal band from Peru, and one that really built their sound on thrash metal. Excellent record. It is much more of a, I would say, it gives me kind of a drawn and quartered kind of style sound, but check it out for yourself. Easily the best, like pure death metal release of the month. Up next is Liminal Shrines. This is the sophomore full-length album from Gut Void, a Canadian death metal band, a progressive death metal band, an atmospheric death metal band, and one of the finest around today, in my opinion. I've interviewed the band a few times. I pretty much know what they're all about, and I feel like they've shown me something new with this record. And the big surprise today is An Undying Love for a Burning World, which is the latest album from Neurosis. Not only was this album kind of just randomly dropped this morning, but it comes after 10 years of nothing, and now they've replaced one of the former members, Scott Kelly, with Aaron Turner, who is best known for Old Man Gloom, Sumac, and a bunch of other groups. Of course, this changes Neurosis' sound quite a bit. I've only listened to this album once, so I won't comment too much on it, but legendary band, and this is a solid record, one that I'm going to have to write about next week once I've had a lot more time to sink into it. So in terms of new release news, one of the bigger developments this week was Disillusioned by the Illusion, the announcement of the latest album from AURORA Borealis. This time they're going to be working with Non-Servium Records, and I don't have a clip to show you, just the album art and the Bandcamp link, but I trust what Ron Vento, the kind of leader of the group, puts into all of his work. He's been extremely consistent and kind of amping up his efforts and refining his craft over the years. Couldn't be more stoked on this record. So the announcement of the third full-length album from Greek black metal band YOTH IRIA kind of went under my radar, but they did announce a May 8th release for Gone with the Devil. This is the third album from the band, and it will be on Metal Blade Records. I haven't heard it yet, but I appreciated how different this song, The Blind Eye of Antichrist, was. There's kind of a Serbian folk hymn that they've kind of built the song around, and I thought it was unique and an interesting music video in general at a time where everyone is doing shit-ass AI. So check out this video. Dark Descent Records announced that they're going to be releasing the third full-length album from Milwaukee, Wisconsin-based bestial death metal band Pig's Blood. That'll release on April 24th on all relevant formats, and I'm interested to see how this one turns out. I haven't fully listened to the whole thing yet, but this song Strike Force of Isolate Will was interesting enough. I'm familiar with the band from their first 2 records, which were released on Gods of War Productions, and it was cool to see them get picked up by Dark Descent and sort of figure there's a different angle or something new about this record that should be interesting. On May 1st this year, Bad Omen and Metal Blade will release Wretched Heart, the 5th full-length album from Spell, a Vancouver, British Columbia-based heavy metal band, a hard rock band, and the first single is Lilac. But I can't hold on, long time holds me on, and if I look away, you're gone. I wouldn't say that Wretched Heart is one of the heaviest records from Spell. I think that was kind of their earlier days, and after the third record, they've definitely taken a turn towards something more introspective and psychedelic. So you'll find that on this single. So it's a great music video just in terms of entertainment, so check that out. Now, I've been a fan of DESECRESY since the beginning, and I can't believe they're at their 9th album at this point. The fellow who's behind it, he basically just does everything now. I think this is one of their most sort of self-sufficient records to date. He is working with Extreme Music for the release, and that will be on May 21st. The Secret of Death does not change the trajectory of the band at all. He really sticks to what he does best. On April 21st, German death metal quartet Oracle of Worms will release their debut full-length Cult of Suffering through FDA Records. This is an interesting one because it wasn't exactly what I'd expected. This is sort of a blackened Swedish death metal sound, one that is not fully melodic but kind of gets there with some of these songs. And a pretty interesting band that kind of cuts the difference between modernity and classicism and blackened death metal. So check that out for yourself. Morfati Productions have announced the April 30th release date for HAJDUK debut album. I don't know how to pronounce the title of it. The band essentially describes the album as influenced by Bulgarian classic poetry and folk songs, and they're making melodic black metal out of it. And I think you'll understand why I was interested in this the moment that it kind of hits this clip. So among many announcements this week, I think the best, the biggest, the most interesting to me was this new song, Dwellers of the Unknown. It's off of the recently announced new Atomic Aggressor record. This is a Chilean death thrash metal band who've been around since the advent of death metal, essentially. And this is their second full-length album. The Occult Forces doesn't have a release date yet, but it will be on Hell's Headbangers. So definitely expect me to check it out. I think the last time they released a record was back in 2014, if I'm right. Couldn't be more stoked on this one. Probably one of my most anticipated. So after releasing a pretty substantial box set, I think today, Peaceful Records and Darkthrone have announced the May 8th release date for Prehistoric Metal, the latest full-length album from Darkthrone, accompanied by a quote, "The old school never gets old." We also have the title track from this album, and it sounds like Darkthrone. They're kind of pushing back into the 80s metal sound they've been fostering for the last couple of records. They're keeping it a little bit more succinct on some of these songs. I mean, you kind of just have to check this band out and see what they're doing. It's definitely my kind of shit, I guess, so see what you think. Yeah, so thanks for checking out some new releases with me. Make sure you follow or whatever, and read some of the more recent reviews that I put up, and have a good weekend.